Welcome everybody to this workshop. I'm very excited to be here with you, sharing this awesome workshop. My name is Roosevelt. I'm part of the core team of the CKIB Club, and this is our new season of workshops, community workshops. And today, well, we will learn, we will share with Zcash community member. For who don't know him, he's Paku. Paku is Paco is Paco. Paco is a great member. He's a developer. Have a lot of experience inside Zcash, and today he will go to give our first touch to help us to start the road with Git, an awesome tool that I'm just discovered too. I'm using in my personal flow work and is very incredible. I think it's very useful for all the community members. So, well, Paco, thank you for accept our invitations to this workshop, and thanks in advance for this knowledge that you will be sharing with us.
Hello, everyone. Um, I'm Paco, as Roosevelt introduced me. I'm part of the Zcash uh, ecosystem. I'm working as a developer relations engineer, and um, I'm really glad to introduce you to this tool. I'm also the moderator and organizer of the Zcash Like Client Working Group, uh, which is a group dedicated to steering and developing the Like Client protocol for Zcash. You all are in touch with the Like Client protocol, which is basically the what powers the wallets like Sodal, Zingo, Cool, Y Wallet. Your favorite mobile wallet is powered by the Likeline Working Group, and I've been using Git to organize the meeting minutes for the Likeline group for many years. I think this is the meeting number 112 or something like that. So a lot of meetings. So imagine that you had to keep Word files or text files for all of those, like or Google Docs. It would be some kind of madness. So we're going to learn Git, and we're going to see how you can use it as a non-developer without getting too involved into the weeds, but still being able to benefit from it. So in is this workshop is Git for the Zcash AV Club, and the agenda today is this presentation you see here is a static website, which we're going to be sharing with you. So people that just joined should be able to see this link. I'm going to paste in the chat so you can actually open this website, which is www.zegdeck.org, CKHAV Club Git Workshop. And you should be able to navigate this presentation alongside. And so we are going to have an agenda today, which is going to be talking about what is Git. Then we're going to explore the biggest website and open source community that uses Git, which is called GitHub. And we're going to explore the Likeline working group repo to give us an example of a real world model of what we're going to do. And then we have a hands-on part of the workshop that is going to be creating our own repository and learning the basics on how to set up the new repo for our workshop, um, and create the folder structure and add some, for example, scripts for our video content or podcast content, and meeting minutes if there are people meetings and taking minutes. Then in module 4, we're going to make our first commit, which is the term that Git uses for a particular point in time of our content. And then we're going to learn a little bit of collaboration with pull requests, because the interesting part of this is that many people can use and modify documents in a simple and historically managed way, right? Git is a really powerful tool, and it has a very basic usage and a pretty advanced usage. And what we'll cover here is the basic usage, so you can get started and take it from here, right? So in this report we're going to make, we're going to suppose that we're going to have a group of people that will meet recurrently and that need minutes to be taken, like notes from the calls, from their meetings, and they meet to organize content for an AV club. And they're going to be, maybe those minutes are sessions that end up being scripts for videos and podcasts and whatnot, and also resources. And we're going to use Git to get all of this started. Okay, so let's move on. So what is Git? Git is like a time machine for files and text and directories. You know, in your computer, when you have a file, you actually save it, and then what happens is that you save that file, and the last thing you saved is the thing that you have available, right? If you wanted to go back in time to see what changes you've made to that file, that unless you use a special software for that, that's not available to you. And that's the famous paper homework underscore final v1 thing, right? That we all know of, like handling these files that we need to turn over, maybe a piece of homework or something for school, and then you make changes and then make another change, and then you save a copy, and then you have a mess of a lot of files. But in Git, things are a little bit different and help us out with all of that. 3 concepts that you need to know, or maybe 4 concepts, that is a repository is a folder where Git tracks every change, is the folder that contains the contents of your project. Then a commit it's a point in time on the lifetime of this repository, and a commit is made by someone, and that commit contains a change, a difference between the original file and the previous version and the new version. And so each commit has a timestamp and an author. Then, since this is a timeline, it is possible to spin up separate timelines. Like Back to the Future. So you can actually branch off the main timeline and work with a file, and then, or many files in that repository, commit different changes, make different changes, and then return to the main timeline, which is the main branch or the official published version. Branches are like drafts for or proposals for changes. And then last but not least, the pull request is the act to return from that timeline that is the feature or that special changes timeline to the main timeline. So what does what this means for you is that instead of using, email threads or files that which have funny names, like script final version 3, real use this, right? You will have just your script, episode 4, privacy explainer.md, like a markdown file, could be any kind of format. And that file has the full history. So there's no sense to name it final v3 or something. And also the good thing is that if you don't know who made a change, you can actually see who made it because you have the huge history, the whole history of your repository, right? And then your notes are searchable and are not lost in like chats or like Signal or Telegram or things like that, or emails. You have a commit change, a history. For example, like this. So you will look at from the bottom to top, and you have like the first change that Leo made a week ago, like initial repo setup, README and folder structure. This first commit of this timeline. Then 3 days ago, maybe Mariana did a change and drafted a script for an episode of some content for the AB Club that is called What is a Zcash? And then Leo was reviewing some other episode and found a typo, and he fixed it and committed that change. And then the group met again and for a Q1 2026 recap, and Mariana was in charge of adding the meeting minutes, and she did a commit to the repo as well. And everything is represented in this timeline, and that you will see that it's pretty similar to GitHub. Good thing is that we won't use any command line. There's no need to install apps. Everything what we're gonna do, we will manage to do, hopefully with the browser. So that's very good. Any questions?
Excellent, Paco. I just want to comment that I have learning this by myself just before this workshop. One of my biggest fears always when I hear about GitHub or Git, I just believe that this is for developer, only for developer tool. And it's a mistake because, like you say, this is for everyone, for bloggers, for podcasters, for everyone who wants to collaborate in the same file and have an order and an historical, a thread of changes. This is for me an open because it's awesome. It's very easy. Sounds complicated, but it's very easy when we understand the how to collaborate, how to make commits inside a file. But I just want to comment this because is very very great to me, awesome to me, to see how this works, and is very happy to manage this tool.
Right. Yes. For example, Zero Dot says this gave me a cool idea having raw AI transcript in Git. Then once you polish it, and later you can easily see what the AI transcriber missed and what had to be changed. Yes, actually, you can, for example, use an AI transcriber, and then maybe the transcribing technology is better, and you can retranscribe it and compare the resulting file with the original and see how good the translation was. Because that's the ability of Git, is like having the comparisons between one version and the other. One thing Git is not the best tool for is huge binary files. Binary files, you can actually enable the large file mode for Git, but it's currently not the best tool for it. That's why we're going to focus mostly on text. That is text-based files, which are the best thing for Git. But for the transcripts of a video, it is great. So let's hop into the module 2 of this workshop, which is exploring GitHub. So before building our own repo, we're going to take a tour on the Lightline Working Groups repo as a working example of what we want to achieve. So we're going to open this link, which is github.com/ccache/Lightline Working Group. And we can hop in there. So in this workshop, what we're going to do is to open GitHub, click into the meeting notes folder, and see what's in there. And then click the history button, and then basically take a walk there. Okay. So, all right. So I've made a new account. So GitHub, for you, if you're new, it will look like this. The Lightline Working Group is a public repository. You can have private repositories as well. Private repositories may or may not have some charge, depending on their use. You should take a look at the terms of use for GitHub, and see if private repositories are good for you, and if there some charges applies. Usually, having a small team doesn't incur any charges. And so you know that if you have a super secret project, you can also use Git to manage it. Then, for example, here, I already checked this box because we already did this. And the README is where you can see this file here. The repository has a folder that is the meeting notes, a git ignore, which is an instruction for Git to ignore some files. For example, your Windows or Linux or Mac OS metadata files from your file system, for example, for those, so they don't get checked into the repo. Or if you don't want video files to actually be committed into the repo, you can tell Git, just ignore video files or the extension you want to ignore. You have a license, and then you have a README file. The README file is going to be read by GitHub and is going to be portrayed here in the README pane. And this pane has the contents of the files and the purpose. You can see that you can write in a structured way. This format is called Markdown, and it's a really simple format that you can edit on the website of Git and have a lightly structured document. For example, you have your main title, your subtitle or category 2 heading, category 3 heading. You can have bullet points. You can add links that are external or links that are internal to your project. You can do tables. Here you can see like the last meetings we had, all the meetings actually. It's a pretty long table. And if we go into the meeting notes, for example, we can see the contents of it, and you can see that we have an issue template that we don't need to delve on. You can see that we have the different meetings here. And let's open some meeting notes. For example, the 100, maybe 112 from last month. You can see that I have this template, and you can see who attended the meeting, what we talked about, and what were the action items. And you can see, let's see, in the history, the history of this file will be short because it has like no history because it was uploaded just once. But what if I go to a file with more history that's a little bit more interesting? For example, the README file. You can see that if I check the history here, it's going to be a lot of things. And it can tell me when I uploaded everything right here. Okay. And if I, for example, click on this commit, I will be able to see the changes here, right? It's telling me that I changed the README file, and it's telling me that I also added a file called the Client Working Group Dev 73. And it's going to show me what changes I did. For example, that I added this entire file, and that I added this entry in the README a long time ago. And I can comment on these changes as I could, but I don't need to. So let's see, if we go back to here, let's see, and I click commits. Let's go back here. Yeah. I can scroll through the whole history, and each one is a pretty clear description of the change I did. For example, here, I made a slight mistake and I duplicated this row, but there was a bit of copy pasta here, and I did not update the number of the meeting here. So I could go back and fix that. But that change is recorded in the history. So it's teaching me that I had made a typo and merged changed, and and I needed to correct it. And I corrected it, and everything is in the history of the repo. Cool. This website is pretty cool because actually you can watch this or do this as I'm doing alongside with me. Or if you're watching the recording of this workshop, I recommend that you actually try to follow the website presentation and use the recording as a additional resource for you to learn Git. So in the issues here, issues is a really historical term, but not necessarily it means an issue as in trouble, as in problem. Issue is a task. It's something that is used to record that something needs to happen, that some change needs to be made on this repository, and then you can use also Git to track your project, which is pretty cool. But we're not going to cover that in this workshop. But it's important to know issues, and also we can check pull requests. I don't have any pull requests open, but you can see that I have 85 closed pull requests. Pull requests are contributions, and you can see that it has this icon of a branch coming back to the main timeline. And that's specifically what it is. I can see here in the Line working group 112 that I took notes for the call, and then there I am gently left a comment saying "ACK," which means that Z acknowledges the contents and has no revisions or comments to be made. And I can see that my PR has one commit associated to it, and if it changes 2 files. And here you can see that in green has the number of lines that it adds and the number of lines it deletes. And I can also link tasks from other repos. For example, here I have a task that reminded me to moderate this call, and then when I closed this pull request because I merged back to the main branch, that I can consider that task closed. In that issue here, it says closes 160 is the issue that I had open for it. And once I close this PR as merged, and it merges back to the main branch, if I do closes and then pound and 160, the number of issue, it will automatically close it for me. So you can see a little bit of what our quote unquote code is about on this repo. You can see also all of the contributors that historically this has had, like Adi from Nighthawk, Kevin, back from ECC, Chris Notticum, Larry Rain, and Biomarker, for example, who committed to this repo. All right, so enough of
Paco,
the tour. Yes.
I have a question with the issues. I don't. We don't have question in the chat, but yes, I have a question. With the issues really means, for example, that if the repo is public, obviously, that someone is making a suggestion. What is the real mean of request? Is the person or the people is making a suggestion, or people want to edit the file?
Oh, an issue is just a task and that or something, a remark. For example, let's say that you spot um, a typo um, or some problem um, in the repo. Let's say that you in a minute your name is not there and you attended that meeting. So you said, oh, I noticed that my name is not on this document, and it should be because I attended. Um, and then you create an issue for it, and then the maintainer of the repo can pick that up, know that it has to um, solve that problem. It has all the description. For example, here you can open a new issue, and your issue has a title and a description, and then you create it, and it's a description of what you think the change or the problem with the repo state is, and you can then, as a maintainer, as somebody that is maintaining the repo or the meeting minutes, can pick that up and create a pull request to solve that task and mark it as done.
Okay, okay. In this case, for example, the person just left, for example, some code lines to add
Yes,
to the repo.
it's just it leaves a note of what the person thinks the change should be, but it could be, for example, a request for an episode. For example, let's say that you have an idea to create a tachyon. Someone should do an episode about tachyon. Okay, so you can create an issue on the repo and said, create an episode of tachyon or a workshop about tachyon, and maybe you can suggest who should be in there or what the structure could be, and then you can leave it there. And then when your AV group uh, meets next time to brainstorm, they can pick up that issue and say, oh, somebody left this idea, I think it's really good, let's take a look at the description there and see and talk about it, and maybe somebody can actually pick that task and assign themselves to it and create the workshop script. For example, it could be also an idea, it could be not only like a typo, it could be any kind of task that is relevant to the repository that your team could be interested in doing. But this issue is something about the GitHub platform. An issue does not exist in the Git repository itself.
Okay.
That's important. Yeah.
Okay. In this case, issues are features of.
Yeah, it's a
GitHub.
feature of GitHub,
Right.
specifically.
Right. Okay. Okay.
As well as pull requests. So let's create the AV Club repository, but you can also create anything that you like, not necessarily the. So first you need to log into GitHub. So I'm already logged in, and then I'm gonna go to my profile. Okay, and then click on the plus sign and create new repository. So I'm going to create the Zcash AV club repo, and I'm going to put like the description, video clip, video scripts, meeting minutes, and resources for the Zcash AV club. But this can be anything you'd like, right? We're going to set the visibility to public, but if this is your super secret show that you don't nobody to know of until it launches, you can actually make it private, and it won't be visible for other users that don't have permissions to see it. Then we can create, we can check the app README file. It will automatically add, and if you would like, you can add a git ignore for different technologies. It has the pre-made ones. We don't need one right now, so we won't create it. And then we can add a license, for example, and we could choose, for example, the MIT license, for example. That is one of the licenses that the Zcash community grants uses, for example. So, but you don't need to if you don't want to. But it's cool to see how it actually adds the files for you with the correct license, so you don't have to do it yourself. So, see the test ZecDev, which is my brand new GitHub account, has made an initial commit with a commit hash. This commit hash that is like hexadecimal numbers and letters tells me what is the identifier of my commit, my initial commit. And this is the very beginning of the history of this repository. And let's see. So now we have the repo, and we want to add folders to it. Like, we don't want to have the files lying out there and like generating a huge list out of nowhere. So we can give a folder structure as we could have in our computer. And we can actually, if you want, you could actually download this repo to your computer as a Git repository or as a zip, plain old zip file as well. So let's go and create our new file. Let's see, this is add file, create new file. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to create the file meeting minutes, and we're going to use today's date, which is 2026 of April, day 22nd. Okay. And now when you
Paco, yes. In this case, with the name of the files, it's not necessary in the extension to put MD or
yes, you need to put MD so you can tell the GitHub that is a markdown file.
Right. I was looking at What is? I missed something. Good. Yeah.
Thank you for pointing it out.
Yeah.
So now, if you see that I have typed a slash here, and it actually identifies that this would be a folder, and it's going to create the intermediate folder for me. Now, let's. I'm not going to type all of this, but let's see. So this, I'm going to change this. Attendees, Paco Roosevelt. Okay. We have Ryan here. He has 0 darts, for example. And let's see. Also, I have the facilitator. So if I have 2 roles here, I can add, for example, Paco and Roosevelt. Okay. So I had the content. If you see here, this is the markdown format, but you can actually use a preview to see that it looks like you want it, right? You can go to edit and see the changes. If you go to the top down here, the bottom down, sorry, not top, the bottom down corner, you can see some hints. Don't be scared about Markdown. Is a straightforward way to structure your files. And for example, something I do, which is pretty useful and it's easier if you don't want to deal with markdowns directly, is that you can take your notes on a Google spreadsheet with the markdown mode enabled, and then you can copy you can use your word processor interface in the what you see is what you get mode. So you see what you're doing as regularly, you use regularly your word processor, and then you can copy as markdown and paste it here. So you even don't need to actually learn the markdown if you don't want to. There are ways to work around it. Don't worry about it. So let's commit the changes. I have the screen split in two, so some elements might not be where the workshop says they are, because apparently that's how are arranged right now. But is commit changes is going to ask me, like tell me what to save the changes, right? So I'm going to create the meeting minutes for this date, and I can also add a description. Okay. From 22nd during the workshop live event. Okay. And then let's see, I can commit directly to the main branch, or I can create a pull request that we're going to commit the changes here for now to the main branch, and then we're going to see the pull requests. So now I'm going to go back to the main page, and now I'm going to see that I have this commit, and I have the meeting minutes, and I have my entry here of the file, right? So that was pretty straightforward. And if I look at my history right now, I have two commits, the initial one and the second one I just did. So let's do the same for the scripts. So we're going to create a new file. It's going to be the scripts folder, template.md. You're going to leave a template. And let's see if I can actually copy paste all of this here. Not very nice. So what I'm going to do is to arrange this a little bit. I'm going to do this because I need to save time, but you can write it yourself as you want. Okay, we have main content, call to action, and this is our template, right? Okay, so I'm going to commit the changes, create template ND for scripts. Use this template to create a new script file. And I can add, for example, save the script into the scripts folder. Commit. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and I see that I have my scripts folder as well, and I will have the new commit as well here. Okay, good. So now let's make a real commit. We're going to edit some file, and then we're going to see the message and the change history. Commits are really important because they tell us what happened in the repo, what was changed, and it's important that the change also let us know the context of what was going on. So a good commit message is it has a clear action and tells you what changed and what was the context. The idea is that when you go back in time and you need to review the history of the repo, you can have these recollections, and your future self would be really thankful of that. So let's see. Now let's edit our README file. Let's see. We're going to edit the README file, and we're going to let's see. Include what a description of the AV Club and a link. Okay, so let's see. Means excuse me, Club. This is a repository to track meetings and content created by the AV Club. We'll find video scripts and meanings, resources, and more. Inspired by and github.com. Okay, let's see how it looks. The link doesn't show up. So what we can do is to use the markdown. And I'm going to show you, this is not in the workshop, not needed, but this is how the syntax goes for markdown links. Let's see how it looks. There we go. I could click and I can do like show diff, and this will tell me what was removed, what was changed, and what was added. Okay, so let's write this commit. Okay, and update readme. I'm going to do this red property. Okay, so in the slides here, you can see a small cheat sheet for Markdown as well. There are a lot more things, but these are the ones that we're going to use here in the workshop, right? So I'm going to commit directly, and I'll see my new changes here, and that I made a new commit, 4 commits so far. Really active, this repository. So let's say that I want to make a modification, for example, add my name to the meeting minutes, right? Let's see. I already added my name, but I notice that this doesn't look great. Everything is on the same line, so I better correct it. And some trick here is that anything that on the markdown file is on the following line, it's not going to have a space on it unless it changes the hierarchy of the text, which is the case for the title, the subtitles of the enumerations. So what I'm going to do is to add a space, and you'll see that now I'll see attendees and facilitator showing up in 2 lines, and I might going to go, I want to do facilitators here. Okay. So I did my change, and I'm going to create a commit message that shows file or fix error, typo, and structure of file. Okay, and I can say facilitator and attendees did not show up properly in different lines. Commit, and there we go. So now you've been seeing that I've been committing to the main branch. Well, that's not a really great practice because currently I'm running my own small authoritarian regime here, and I'm like committing everything I want to the repo without consulting anyone else and without collaborating. But the idea of open source and Zcash and the community as a whole is to collaborate so we can help each other and expand the mission of our projects, right? So we need, instead of just pushing to the main branch, we have to collaborate through pull requests. The idea of this pull requests is that we create a change, we propose a change, and then through the pull request, we request others permission and review of our proposed change. So we can discuss the change, even like enhance it, improve it, move things around, and then when everyone is happy with it, we can merge it back to the main timeline. And that makes us better because sometimes who hasn't been working in some script for so long or some text for so long that you can't read into it anymore. Like you won't notice typos that or grammatical errors that are not spotted by the word processor, but or maybe a word is missing, a noun is missing, and you just read over it 1,000 times and you don't see it anymore because your brain is tricking you and it's not reading word by word. So pull requests will help you show your work and your changes to others, and they can review it and make suggestions. And you can also self-review your change on. It gives you a huge opportunity because it changes the setup of your work, and actually self-assessing your pull request is a very good thing to do before submitting the pull request, because you will trick your brain to, as it was tricking you, to think it's a different thing you're reading in a different setup, and you will be able to catch a lot of things that you might have missed. So let's go over to create a new file, and we're going to go to scripts, and let's go to episode 1. What is zcash.md? Okay, so okay, Bruce will give me some ideas of what I can write here. Oh, wait a second. I have a template that I can use. Remember? So I can use my template here. Can see the raw text of a template and paste it here. So the script title is episode 01, season 1. Why not? Let's dream big. What is Zcash? Okay. Length, I don't know, 60 minutes. Okay. So what is the hook of this episode?
What is privacy? What is privacy?
What is
Because
privacy?
uh-huh.
Or maybe the hook could be screenshot of a tweet of Ian Myers tweet. Bitcoin is Twitter for your bank account. That's a really good hook, right? Main content. So we're going to see history of Zcash or what's privacy.
That episode will be awesome.
Yeah. History of cash. History of Zcash. The ceremony. Sapling. Orchard. Call to action. Tell Paco to send yerba mate to Roosevelt so he can write all night. There we go. Good. Roosevelt. Okay. Send draft in the next 10 days. Okay. You have the call to action. And let's see. Commit changes. For our first episode, initial ideas for the first episode of this season. Okay, and now we're gonna create a new branch. That is gonna be, for example, let's see what name can have, like Zcash show episode 1. This is the name of my branch. We're going to propose. Make sure the mate is plashadito. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Rotmar, this is. If they sponsor us, it would be good. If we had a sponsor. Okay, good. So we're opening the pull request. Okay, I've made this, and this. Now, is this GitHub redirectory to the open pull request page? So add a description like first draft. Okay. If you can see here, GitHub did a trick for us, which is that the commit title is now the title of the pull request. It is initial ideas for first episode of this season. Let's add something, save a little bit more of time, and let's take a detour. Let's say that we met before, and we already knew that this had to be made. So we're going to create a new issue that says, create a draft for the first episode of season 1. I'm going to assign myself. And I'm going to have this description here. So, and I'm going to create, I'm going to add a label, for example, documentation, and create an issue. So I have this task here under issues. So if I go to my pull request, I can tell closest 1. And now, let's say I could add someone as reviewer. I don't have anyone on my team, so it's not going to autocomplete, but I could have others in my team and assign them a review, right? And I can have a label here as well. And I'm going to create here. Okay. Then here I could share the link in this group and people could see it, but let's do that myself. So this link here, it's public. So if you share it with anyone else, you will be here to, you will land on this page. But in order to review and merge the pull request, you have to be a maintainer of this repository. That's a feature of GitHub. So let's see what we changed. We see that we have the changes we made. And then, I see that there are some typos here. So I think we need to do some changes. So I'm going to add a suggestion here. To fix this, and I'm going to start a review. Right? Okay. Then I won't be able to merge this because I have made the change myself, the suggestion myself. So this suggestion to be actionable by somebody else, it needs to be from somebody else. But I'm showing you that you can actually use GitHub's UI to do all the work you need, and you don't actually need to like use any other client. So see, if I was not myself who did the suggestion, then I would have been able to commit the suggestion. I'm going to do is just to delete it by now and move on. But I could totally have actually made this. And I can also edit the file and do it in line. Commit. And I can commit directly to this branch or create a branch of a branch, but we don't need that here. Okay. So now I see that my pull request has 2 commits, the original and the fix. And I can see by commit what changes I did here. See, pretty cool. All right. So let's go back to this beauty. Okay, we've seen the files change, like the two changes impact just one file, so all the changes will be here. Then I could have automations as well. I could have a GitHub action to look for typos, for example. But that's not covered in this workshop. Maybe in a future one. So once reviewed, click merge per request. So we have reviewed, we have suggested a change, and we've made a change. And now we can hit merge pull request, and we can confirm the merge. And that's it. Now you'll see the purple merged here icon. And then if I go to issues, ta-da, it has been automatically being closed. So the UI doesn't refresh that much, so you will see that there this ghost pull request but this is an issue with GitHub, but it's not a problem. Maybe they'll fix it someday, but it's been there forever. But not that bad. Okay. So our next steps is like I can invite all the members of the club, set up conventions, and a lot of things. Like if I go to settings of my repo, I can actually see collaborators and that, but I need to log in and confirm that I am who I am. So I'm not going to do this right now, but you can just go to the settings and add whatever you'd like to do. And you can add collaborators and change a lot of things. All right. Let's see what's next. So we have a cheat sheet here. And all the things you need to do. We went over what was a repository, a commit, a branch, a pull request, a merge. Clone is, we haven't gone through it, is the act of like cloning or downloading the repo to your local machine. And fork is creating a copy of this repo. Okay, so we have gone through the typical workflow. Like we know how to create a new meeting file. We know how to create a new script file. We can even create a branch and propose a new draft for an episode. Open a PR and ask for review for our partners. And I guess that is everything you need to know about Git and GitHub to get started to do your AV club or any Zcash club you want to start and manage it with this tool.
Incredible. Awesome. Paco, there is a question here in the chat. Can we add some HTML? And asking because the radio players are in HTML format.
Yes, you can add any kind of file that you want. There is actually, for your organization, for example, you can create a static website that is called GitHub Pages. That if you're I'm a user, but you could have your club to be an organization, and then have a specific repository for the GitHub pages, and have like a static website live that is actually a Git repo, and you can use it as a web page. So totally.
Good, thanks. And in YouTube, we have another question, but that is I want to create an account. Could GitHub be used as a personal repo? Yeah, it's easy, Mayra. It's
Yes.
very easy. And
Yes.
the huge difference that I see in this change of workflow that I see, Paku, is just before I work with, for example, Dropbox or Google Drive, and in a meeting or creating scripts, I create a document, Word, whatever, and then save it in the folder of Google Drive or Dropbox. And but we don't have story changes. We don't have we can follow comments, and the comments are very useful. If you want to share with something, if you want to share the workflow, work in the club, like you say, in a group of people, the comment is very powerful.
Yes, and also you can specifically tell GitHub who has permission to do what. So it's safe to share a repo and publicly with others, that they won't be able to alter it without your permission. And so it's in that sense, it's also easier than using just like Google, not Drive, but Dropbox, for example. So it's more adequate, I would say. But Dropbox is great for big files. For example, you might want to actually have a virtual or a cloud drive kind of tool. Not necessarily Google Drive, could be CryptPad, could be Proton Drive, which are maybe privacy minded tools for that. But yes, those tools are more adequate, for example, to share the resources with the team, like the designs, the all the media files that you need to edit your repository, your project in like the binary and all. Maybe backups of your Premiere or video editing tool that you use. But then like the text things are better here in Git.
Good. Well, we don't have any questions. Paco, I want to thank you for your time, for your knowledge about this. It's awesome. I'm personally, I really enjoying this new workflow. And my invitation is for all the community members that will see this in the next days, that make the homework that Paco left. Is very useful. The site secdev.org to make the exercises that you left, Paco.
Yeah. And yeah, we're going to leave that link in the YouTube description or the PeerTube description on which platforms the CKAV club is running, so that you have it handy, because the link is a little bit wordy, so you won't remember it by heart. Yeah, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Roosevelt. Thank you, Rotmar, for the translation. Thank you, Thank you, Ryan, Zero Darts, and um, Irena, and everybody that participated. Thank you so much, and see you around.
Thank you, Paco. And thank you all. See you in the next workshops. Be attentive to the next dates. We are very excited about this, and we want you. We want you here being facilitators of the next workshops. Thank you. Bye bye. See you
Thank
around.
you. Bye.